Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with political leaders and officials on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos on Wednesday. According to Associated Press, Zelensky held talks with the chairman of Germany's center-right Christian Democratic Union Party, Friedrich Merz, where the pair discussed several issues including war in Ukraine and the situation on the frontline, officials said. Zelensky wrote on social media the talks also focused on how to bring a just peace for Ukraine closer. The Ukrainian leader also discussed bringing about peace in the war during a meeting with Israeli President Isaac Herzog. Officials said common challenges and cooperation in the security sphere were also among the main topics discussed during the meeting between the two. Ukraine is glad that the people who were held captive are returning home, Zelensky also wrote after meeting with Herzog. In Davos, Zelensky also met with the president of Vietnam, Luong Quang. Over the years, trade between our countries and the private sector has been increasing. I am very happy that we have such strong economic relations, Zelensky said during the meeting.
One more commit, please.
Good to see you. How are you? Very nice to meet you.
Vâng, thương mại và kinh tế giữa hai nước. Người bạn truyền thống của Ukraine.
So this is the testament. This occasion, which in just a short period of time we've made.
I don't know that what really our teams do from one forum to another, but during all these years, the trade between our countries, the trade between the private sector is increasing. I'm very happy that we have such strong economic relations.
Economic and trade relations between our two countries.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Switzerland on Tuesday to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos. According to Associated Press, Zelensky is scheduled to speak at the gathering later on Tuesday. He is also expected to hold bilateral talks with world leaders and business sphere representatives, his press service said. On January 20, Russian war correspondents reported that in the Bolshoi-Soldotskoye area, 3 DPRK soldiers, for reasons still unknown, killed 5 of Putin's Marines. This joyful event took place on January 13. Kim's soldiers are still on the run. Their photos are published by local law enforcement officers from Kursk region. At the same time, the leaflet states in black and white that the murder was committed by servicemen from the DPRK, not Tuvans, about whom the Kremlin loves to talk so much, claiming that there are allegedly no Kim soldiers in the Russian Federation. The leaflet also says that the killers are armed and very dangerous. They may be in the Oryol, Kursk, Bryansk and Belgorod regions. The day before, the American press wrote that Kim's soldiers were also seen violating international rules of warfare. In Kursk, they, like Putin's soldiers, also shot Ukrainian servicemen who wanted to surrender. Journalists from the Wall Street Journal report that the Human Rights Foundation has studied in detail the documents confiscated by the Ukrainian armed forces from North Korean soldiers. One of them states that they shot those who wanted to surrender as a sign of revenge for the death of their comrades on the battlefield in the Kursk region.
The Russian Navy is facing increasing challenges in the Baltic Sea as NATO and its new members try to block Russian ships. Sweden, which joined NATO in 2024, has deployed a new anti-ship missile, the RBS-15 Mark III, capable of hitting Russian ships in St. Petersburg and Kaliningrad, writes defense analyst David Axe in an article for The Telegraph. Sweden will receive a significant capability increase with an anti-ship missile featuring a more advanced target seeker, increased range and a larger warhead, said Jörgen Johansson, a Saab executive. The RBS-15 Mark III, which is radar-guided, has a range of up to 190 kilometers, can attack ships and large targets. Combined with sensors on land, in the air, on the water and underwater, the missiles effectively block Russian warships from accessing the Atlantic Ocean. The Russian Navy is facing pressure from more than just Sweden. Sweden's growing anti-ship missile arsenal was less threatening to Russia before the latter widened its war on Ukraine in February 2022 and drove Sweden, once NATO-leaning but formerly neutral, into the transatlantic alliance. Sweden joined NATO in March 2024. Its neighbor Finland, also a former neutral state, had joined 11 months prior. Other Baltic countries have significantly beefed up their defenses. Estonia has purchased Blue Spear 5G missiles with a range of 200 miles, while Latvia has acquired naval strike missiles. The chosen weapons system will form the cornerstone of Estonian naval defense for decades to come, said Yuri Saska, commander of the Estonian Navy. With NATO expansion and the addition of Sweden and Finland, the Baltic Sea has become one of the most challenging regions for the Russian Navy. This calls into question its ability to effectively operate in a conflict with NATO. Axe writes that it remains an open question whether the Russian Navy can resist in the Baltic Sea if tensions with NATO escalate into open warfare. It is noted that NATO's expansion in reaction to the Russian attack on Ukraine has made the Baltic Sea an extremely hostile place for the Russian Navy, and it's growing even more hostile with every missile Sweden and its fellow NATO members deploy.